The lifetime ban on Pete Rose, baseball's all-time hits leader with 4,256. Rose was banned from baseball in 1984 for betting on baseball games as a player and manager. Rose, who died in 2024, is now eligible for the Hall of Fame. If you had a vote, would you vote for Rose to go into the Hall of Fame? Email your thoughts to ray@smileyAudiomedia.com. ray@smileyAudiomedia.com. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. You ready?
Somebody make some noise in this joint.
KBLA Talk 1580 celebrates its 4th anniversary this year on Juneteenth.
Here we go again.
Hard to believe 4 years has gone by so fast.
Oh my God.
But here we are, still standing, still loving and serving our people as best we can.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
To celebrate our 4th anniversary, we have 4 big events, and you're invited to all of them.
She got a lot to say.
Let's do this.
Let's get it on.
On Wednesday, June 18th, we go live on C-SPAN for the 2nd consecutive year with our Climate Justice Plus Black Health Symposium. Tavis Smiley will moderate an all-star panel of thinkers and influencers as we continue our vitally important climate justice work.
Hey, Tavis Smiley, call the mom.
On Thursday, June 19th, you're invited to join us as we celebrate Juneteenth and our 4th anniversary. There'll be plenty of food, fun, great music, good vibes, and all of your favorite KBLA Talk 1580 hosts will be there.
Yeah, man.
Flip the beat. On Saturday, June 21st, there are 2 big events you're invited to attend.
I can't wait to hear it.
This year, KBLA Talk 1580 continues its annual partnership with the Empowerment Congress for a community celebration and dialogue to educate, engage, and empower. This year's theme is resilience in the face of chaos.
Can't wait to see what's up next.
Y'all ain't ready for this.
And new this year is our State of Black Women in Los Angeles Symposium, moderated by Dominique DiPrima, with a luncheon to follow. Dominique will be leading a dialogue with some of the most impactful Black women leaders in Los Angeles, and you're invited to join.
This is it.
All of these events are free, but seating is limited, so you must register in advance at our KBLA1580.com website, where you can find all the details you need about each event.
Check it out.
It's our 4th anniversary, and we would love to celebrate it with you.
I love you guys so much. There's nothing you can do about it.
We're KBLA Talk 1580.
The only black talk radio station west of the Mississippi.
Thank you for having our black.
Happy anniversary, KBLA!
Love you. Love you.
Only God can judge me. That right? Only God, baby. Nobody else. Nobody else. All you other motherfuckers, get out my business. Ready? Perhaps I was blind to the facts. Stabbed in the back, I couldn't trust my own homies. Just a bunch of dirty rats. Will I succeed? Paranoid from the weed. And hocus pocus, try to focus, but I can't see. And in my mind, I'm a blind man doing time. Look to my future, cause my past is all behind me. Is it a crime to fight for what is mine? Everybody's dying. Tell me what's the use in trying? I've been trapped since birth. Cautious, cause I'm cursed. And fantasies of my family and the hurts. And they say it's the white man I should fear. But it's my own kind doing all the killing here. I can't lie, ain't no love for the other side. Jealousy inside, make them wish I died. Oh my Lord, tell me what I'm living for. Everybody's drunk and got me knocking on heaven's door. And all my memories of seeing brothers bleed. And everybody agrees, but still nobody sees. Recollect your thoughts, don't get caught up in the mix. Cause the media is full of dirty tricks. Only God can judge me.
KBLA Talk 1580. Still full of dirty tricks. But that's why we need places like us, KBLA Talk 1580, black owned and operated every doggone day. Spread the word. I am pleased to have with us an activist and writer in his own right. He is Jamal Ibn Mumia. Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing, Dominique?
I'm blessed and highly favored. How are you?
I'm blessed too, and I'm definitely struggling.
Yeah.
Dealing with my father.
Yeah.
In a situation, Mumia Abu-Jamal.
Absolutely. Most of us who have grown up around the movement, or even around any kind of black news anywhere, have grown up with the cry of free Mumia being part of the conversation. I mean, I think my whole life, definitely your whole life. And yet Mumia is still not free.
43 years. Still inside.
So, I mean, I feel like most people think they know the story of your dad, but hearing it from you is different. 43 years on the inside. If you were to summarize, we're starting to see some of the people that we consider political prisoners being released, but your dad remains inside. Explain the story from your point of view.
Well, first, I want to say thank you for having me.
Yes,
and
thanks for coming.
Great question. And your father is a legend in his own right, Dominique Baraka. I know him from Newark, New Jersey.
Yeah.
But let me get to this here. Since 1981, people got to understand that Mumia, my father, was 27 years old, a young journalist. And he was the journalist of the year for the black journalists of 1981. Before that year, in 1980, he was listed as one to be watched, the voice of the voiceless, right? So I say those years so you can understand that his plight became in like the 70s, the late 70s. I always like to take people back to Powelton Village. Powelton Village is in West Philadelphia at the bottom, okay? That's where the Move 9 first was arrested, and they had a standoff. And a standoff was basically about, it wasn't HOA then, it was just the people on the block signed a petition, said we don't like the way you're doing at your house, whether it's your grass, whether it's your actions, whether your noise or whatever. We need you to leave. They like, we ain't going nowhere. So they got the police involved, and they had a standoff. There was a shootout. Officer Ramp was killed. Frank Rizzo, at the temperature of Philadelphia at that time, he was the mayor. And he said, we shoot first, ask questions later. So when he was at the press conference in City Hall, he basically said, we got those radicals off the street. We got 9 of them in custody, and they're all going to be charged for murder of the officer of Ramp. My father, he's a journalist. So he's in the journalist crowd. He raises his hand, and he got a pencil behind his ear, and he says, can you explain and elaborate on friendly fire? Because the coroner report says Officer Ramp was killed by friendly fire. That means another officer bullet killed him. So how could you say that you're going to, prosecute 9 people for one body and one bullet that you already said was friendly fire? He pointed at him, and he said, young man, you're going to be accountable for your actions. Right then, he already put a target on Mumia. At 14 years old, my father in Philadelphia with Reggie Shell, they started the Black Panther Philadelphia chapter on Columbia Avenue in North Philadelphia. He was the Minister of Information. So we found out he was in COINTELPRO since he was 14. So that's weird because I look at it like they knew my grandmother worked at Sears Roebuck. They knew my father was in high school, and they following him. So Mumia was always bringing the news. I like to give that layout before his arrest. So they knew exactly who he was. And what they did, they railroaded him because he got arrested December the 9th, 1981. His trial was June 1982. His sentence to capital murder, death row, was July the 2nd, 1982. That's less than 6 months, and you're on death row. So that was a summary real quick.
Yeah, it's a summary. And, with what we're presented in the mainstream media is that Mumia Abu-Jamal, your dad, was convicted of killing a police officer. And because of that, the Fraternal Order of Police and those organizations that are known as police unions, but I call them cartels, took a very active role in making sure that your dad would remain in prison, right?
Yes. Well, great question. So you're talking about the cover-up, okay? Because I always ask people, and I just like to break things down with simplicity. One, do you know who Arnold Beverly is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Arnold Beverly did a live confession. Arnold Beverly stated that he killed the officer, not my father. Arnold Beverly took 2 lie detector tests and passed it. Arnold Beverly you can go on YouTube and look him up, and he got his live confession right there. Okay? What they told my father's attorney was that it's too late. You time barred, so it cannot be reviewed in any court of law. So come with another issue. I know in America, if you got an alibi or you got a confession, it should be heard in the court of law. And when I said about the cover-up, you know the corruption in Philadelphia. They were being investigated by the FBI in 1980 up to 88, what the convictions was. Now you go to Alfonso Diagano. He was the lead officer on my father's investigation. He's the third in command under Frank Rizzo, the mayor. Okay? Now, he gave a statement during the suppression hearing, but he never testified during trial. Okay, he was corrupt because 5 years later, he gave testimony and he helped the government to convict 30 police officers out that same precinct that locked my father up and investigated. 15 of those officers was actually involved in his investigation. So there's a cover-up. So FOP got to keep that face on because nobody talks about that. How could 30 officers be convicted? This is public information by Alfonso Diagano's testimony, which was the lead officer in my father's case. And they said, oh, he took some money, so he got bribery charged for $7,000, so he helped the government. No, he helped the government to save his own behind from a prison time. So these are things that people don't know. Arnold Beverly confessed, but it's never been entered in court because it say it's time barred. And then Arnold Beverly tells people his blood is at the scene. I mean, like, come on. We can't keep saying that we're stupid.
We're talking with Jamal Ibn Mumia, the son of Mumia Abu-Jamal. We're going to fast forward when we continue this conversation of where we are now and what, why you're touring the country trying to make people aware of what's happening with your father's case and how folks can get involved. I have a few more questions, though, about, what you just brought up regarding Arnold Beverly and the repeated appeals, the overturning of the death sentence, and what's next. All that is straight ahead. We're talking Mumia Abu-Jamal, and we're speaking with Jamal Ibn Mumia on KBLA Talk 1580.
Say the quiet part out loud. KBLA Talk 1580.
You really about to do it?
40 acres in the mule. This is bigger than the music.
You really about to do it?
Yeah, they tried to rig the game, but you can't fake influence.
Who among us doesn't like black music? But Kendrick is right. This moment is so much bigger than music. These are serious times. We've got serious problems, and we need serious people who understand that slogans are not solutions. When you want substantial and sober analysis about things that matter to you and the ones you love, this is where you turn. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we've got your black.
The IRS finally caught up with Louie.
I hadn't paid my taxes in 8 years. I owe the IRS a lot of money.
Louie was in deep trouble.
We're going to take your house, put a lien on your bank account, garnish your pay. They don't care. They're going to take your paycheck.
Louie found out about Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima Tax, they help me. They calm me down. They make me feel comfortable, and I trust them.
Louie has a lot to be thankful for.
I don't owe the IRS anymore, and I'm able to live a comfortable life, a lot better life. It was because of Optima Tax.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation. Take it from Louie.
If you owe the IRS, don't go it alone. Give Optima Tax a call. They can help you.
Call 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Attorney advertising prior results do not guarantee future outcomes.
Founded in Los Angeles in 1986, litigation powerhouse Quinn Emanuel has deep roots in the Los Angeles community. Since 2007, we have litigated some of the largest fires on the West Coast. We are proud to be the only AmLaw 100 firm in the country to represent wildfire victims, giving affected individuals, families, and businesses the same focus and individualized attention we devote to our Fortune 500 clients. BTI Consulting has repeatedly recognized Quinn Emanuel as among the 4 law firms in-house counsel least liked to oppose in any litigation, and we are often deemed the most feared. And after securing over $80 billion for our clients in various matters firm-wide, we understand why. If you have been affected by the recent wildfires in Altadena and the Palisades and would like to discuss your situation further, please contact wildfire support at QuinnEmanuel.com or call us at 213-443-3050. Quinn Emanuel is proud to sponsor Conversation Live Altadena Rising with James Farr on KBLA Talk 1580.
Attorney advertising prior results do not guarantee future outcomes.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
I do appreciate you every day that you roll with me, and I'm so glad that you're here. We're talking with Jamal Ibn Mumia, and he is updating the country, the world, on the state of his father, Mumia Abu-Jamal's imprisonment and quest to get out. You talked about Arnold Beverly. You said that that they didn't admit that that confession in court because it was past the time. Yeah, but I guess I had always thought that it was because the lawyers for Mumia didn't think that he was, for your father, didn't think he was a credible witness.
Well, what happened? You had Weinglass, okay, and him and Dan Williams. They were 2 crooks. What they did was that they always do is they culture vultures and they go into the community and they use their resume. But they don't tell people that they wrote a book that said Mumia didn't do it, but if he did do it, it would be this. So the prosecutor used their own book. So I'm not going to trust them to say that the witness that was there, that got blood on the scene. It don't matter what you feel. There's facts. And then I can ask you something else, Dominique. As being in the urban, I'm from out of Philadelphia, born and raised, and we're doing a Mumia Freedom Tour, and we're going across the country with Freedom from Frame Up Foundation. We're a 501c3, nonprofit, and we need to revitalize the movement because there's a lot of stuff that's now out there. So I always ask people, why Mumia don't have a co-defendant if my uncle was arrested with him at the scene and for murder?
Yeah,
2 black guys, 1 white cop. Answer that for me.
I don't know the answer to that at all.
And he went to death row. But I know why, because it's called a cover-up. It's called a frame-up. You move one out the way, and you shine mirrors, and you say this guy was a Black Panther and this guy did this because you put an imagery out there. We cannot, in our day of information, keep going for them painting the narrative. They're following up. Everybody went up the food chain on Mumia. Okay, so why is my uncle out here free, been out here free, and he didn't get charged with anything except for some disorderly conduct? But they both was at the scene.
Yeah.
So I know I've been pulled over. You've been pulled over. You've been out of Jersey, out the West Coast. If 2 black guys is there and there's a white cop down, you're a co-defendant whether you want to be or not. Look at Hurricane Carter case. But these are the things that get by us because we listen to media. You're giving good media. We have the other media that's controlled by 5 families that put the narrative out there.
Yeah.
And this is why we're saying that Mumia need to be free like them Jan 6 was free. Okay? Didn't they sign that thing to get them out?
Yeah, well they didn't do much time at all.
Okay, they didn't do no new hearings. They didn't do no new trial. But then why we can't have Joshua Shapiro sign for my father to be released after all this evidence?
Yeah, the governor. Yes.
And then, the governor of Pennsylvania, Joshua Shapiro. So we putting out a petition because we asking him to be transparent. Ain't that what the Trump administration said? Everybody's being transparent now.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying. These are the things that we have to ask. Nobody asks why Mumia don't have a co-defendant. Nobody asks that. Then they say, okay, he ran across the street. So who did the cop stop first? Nobody asked to say, was the cop corrupt? If 30 people at the same precinct, how you know he ain't corrupt? How you know he wasn't snitching on them? Nobody says, why do he has, out of all the police officers there, he got an application pending for the FBI because somebody seen him come out the FBI building. So he got an application pending. That sounds like a rat to me.
Yeah.
And then they try to get him out the way and cover up. But I know we don't have enough time, so we ask people to do the campaign we're doing is Watch Manufacture of Guilt. You can look that up on YouTube. You can look up Arnold Beverly on YouTube, and you can come in. And then we need you to follow us on Mumia Freedom Tour, and we're on the social media site. You can follow us on that, on Instagram.
Okay.
And
We still got more time though. We got some time.
No, okay.
I'm glad you're handling business,
ahead,
and we'll repeat that again because I want people to know what you're up to. But we do have some time. It's not that
okay, sister.
That rush. We're gonna use all our minutes. So
that's what I'm talking about.
So I mean, and to be clear, because I've been covering this case for a long time, that. I can't even remember everything I once knew about it. Obviously, you do. It's your father. But
correct.
When we go all the way back to the original trial of Mumia Abu-Jamal, there were so many problems with it. So many.
In 5 and 6 months.
Yeah, so many problems.
That's wicked.
Yeah. And
they removed him out of there. But go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I said they removed him out of the courtroom because he exercised his right to defend himself. When they heard him speaking so eloquently to the jurors, they said, "Oh, you're disturbing it," and they put him in a holding cell where you would visit your attorney if you incarcerated in court. So they put him in that room, removed all the black jurors, replaced them with white jurors, and then brought him back out and said, "Now you can continue, with your trial, but we're going to have you as backup counsel." And they had Anthony Jackson, his attorney. And, Anthony Jackson said he didn't even have enough funds to even cover a capital case. So he said he started getting high. He publicly says this. He says he's never dealt with a case this magnitude. I'm just saying with all of these issues, how is Mumia not overturned? How do the governor in Pennsylvania, we know the corruption they have there, how can they keep hiding this? And don't let me get started with Fast Eddie, Ed Rendell, okay? Because you got Joseph McGill, you got Chobert, which was the cab driver. They found these boxes, right? And Krasner, I think he said that his assistant found them in a closet. So I always ask a question. Arch Street was the district attorney's office when I remembered it. Then they moved it to 13th and Filbert. So either you use a U-Haul or a Penske. How you didn't see these boxes with Mumia's name on it and everything, and this is exculpatory evidence that never was disclosed to his attorney, including a letter from Chobert, the cab driver, that wrote to Joseph McGill, said, "Where my money at? You told me if I testify and say that, I'm going to get my money." So they spun it with Ron Castile. See, that's how they do. They do these smoke and mirrors.
So, I'm focusing us a little bit because, like I said, this is your family, this is your dad, so you know all of the details.
Oh, yeah.
But everybody may not be familiar with all of the details that you're stating. So the big picture is he was convicted, they put him on death row, and then that death sentence was overturned and changed to life imprisonment without parole, right? That's what he's serving now, right?
Yeah, well, with that, you got Jan Young. That was the judge, the federal judge. He said it was constitutional irregularities. When you got a capital murder case, you got the same jury that you got during trial that you got at sentencing. So if they say any jury infraction, the Supreme Court has stated that you cannot reverse, you can't take it back a case that's from poison fruit, rotten fruit from the poison tree. Meaning, if there's any constitutional violation, the whole case should be overturned. So what he did was he gave Seth Williams, which also out of Philadelphia prosecutor that got locked up for corruption later. He was the district attorney. He said, you got 180 days to appeal this. If you don't, it'll automatically commute to life. So I said, you move my father out the frying pan and put him in the broiler. Because now you told him basically you can go on vacation and I'm going to put him on life, but we ain't going to let him go.
And,
what?
And he remained on death row for quite a while after that death sentence.
For extra 10 years.
Yeah.
Extra 10 years to 2011 because they was putting fake appeals after the Constitution was already stated. So what I'm saying is with Mumia, his only crime is that he survived. And see, right now he's going through a medical issue with his eyes. His lens was, he went through surgery to get his eye lens removed 2 to 3 years ago, right after he had triple bypass heart surgery. And now he said his lens are messed up. Glaucoma's kicking in. I just talked to my dad yesterday, actually. We talk 3 times a day. When I go see him, I take my grandbabies out there, which is his great-grandbabies. And they be going up there and they be asking, because we continue in this fight. We are not going with the big accolades. Like a lot of these places like NAACP, you got ACLU, all these lawyers, come on, man. They being controlled by somebody else. So right now, we're even campaigning for him for new attorneys because this is a shame that attorneys can't even bring this law that happened on this man for 43 years that never have a conviction, don't have a record. This man was Journalist of the Year by the Black National Journalist in 1981. The same year he was convicted of this crime.
One of the amazing things about your dad, Mumia Abu-Jamal, is the fact that he's continued to be a very prolific journalist from behind bars. I mean, he's
correct.
His voice is known. He's doing commencement speeches, obviously on tape or on the phone, speaking to protesters. I think about a little over a week ago, addressing a protest via phone, a Free Palestine protest. What do you attribute that to? I feel like being a journalist is hard enough when you're not imprisoned.
Right. So what my father says, and I didn't get it because, like I said, we are all the way involved. So when I see the overlook or the oversight on an attorney and they telling me, oh, that's my style, or you don't understand. I understand law. Law is simple. You lay the foundation, you lay the facts. Period. It's people that obfuscated. So what I feel like my dad, his words, he tell me that the people will ultimately free him, not the courts. And what I mean by that, the people power going to go to the people to push these facts that I'm telling you that anybody can look up. This is public information. And what people don't know is Diagano, he got the death duty. And after my father was convicted in 1982, he was released with full benefit from the police department. And he wound up being a snitch and putting 30 cops away. So I said he didn't just start no corruption then. So one thing that I believe that the people need to know the facts. Why was Arnold Beverly's cases there?
Okay, hold that thought, Jamal. We have news, traffic, and sports, and we're going to continue this conversation. Jamal Ibn Mumia, the son of Mumia Abu-Jamal. Mumia Abu-Jamal on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. A judge resentenced Lyle and Eric Menendez to 50 years to life for the 1989 murders of their parents. Defense attorney Mark Garagos credits Judge Michael Jessic for making the correct ruling.
He did what justice said should happen. He struck the special circumstance, which means they're immediately eligible.
The brothers are now eligible for parole under California's youthful offender law. Sean Diddy Combs' ex, Cassie Ventura, will likely testify again today in Combs' sex crimes trial. On Tuesday, Ventura said Combs forced her to stay awake for days to perform sex acts with other men. Ventura told jurors she also suffered physical abuse from Combs during their 10-year relationship. And Kim Kardashian has completed her testimony in the Paris trial over the 2016 jewelry heist, where robbers stole over $10 million in jewels from her hotel. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Joe Buck and John Smoltz welcoming you back to the City Center Convenience Mart. Uh-oh. She's looking at the cigarettes, but she just grabs the gum off the counter. Stand Up to Cancer and Rally want you to reduce your risk for cancer. Go to takeahealthystand.org. Is this the title?
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Two elimination games tonight in the NBA playoffs. New York at Boston and Golden State at Minnesota. New York and Minnesota have 3-1 leads in their best-of-7 series. Boston, the number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference, goes home if they lose to New York tonight. The Celtics will be without their best player. Jason Tatum has surgery Monday to repair a ruptured Achilles tendon in his right leg. Major League Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred lifted the lifetime ban on Pete Rose, baseball's all-time hits leader with 4,256. Rose was banned from baseball in 1984 for betting on baseball games as a player and manager. Rose, who died in 2024, is now eligible for the Hall of Fame. If you had a vote, would you vote for Rose to go into the Hall of Fame? Email your thoughts to ray@smileyAudiomedia.com. ray@smileyAudiomedia.com. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
I feel so alone.
I'm embarrassed to talk about it.
How can I help my kid if I can't help myself?
I can't remember when I wasn't stressed.
I don't like to talk inside.
When you feel overwhelmed by your thoughts and emotions, it's okay to get help. You are not alone. CalHope is here for you with free, safe, and confidential mental health resources for youth, young adults, families, and you. Find support now at calhope.org.
Thanks for starting your morning off with a voice that speaks truth to power and the powerless, getting to the heart of what matters most in our community. This is where authentic conversation meets real action. From breaking news and politics to culture and community solutions. This is where you hear perspectives you won't hear anywhere else. This is where we come together, get informed, and make change happen. You're inside First Things First with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Good morning, sunshine. You make my day.
The Comedy Connection series featuring KBLA's Zoe Williams, the voice of reason, and the alpha male of comedy, Ray Grady. We're going to transform relationship disasters into stand-up material live at Inglewood's Miracle Theater on May 31st at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. My clinical team will disclose all of your dating woes, while the alpha male of comedy, Ray Grady, has hand-selected supremely talented comedians to roast all of our tragic relationship choices. I dare you to bring your ex's phone number because Ray, he's going to text it live and the crowd will be sourcing emojis. Tickets are moving swiftly, so don't hesitate to grab yours at themiracleinglewood.com before I diagnose your dating history as a pre-existing condition.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit, 800-511-2112. That's 800-511-2112. 800-511-2112.
Find a righteous rage, and don't be afraid to say what you see. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
We are, and we are talking with Jamal Ibn Mumia. You are on the, you are on tour, the Mumia Freedom Tour for Mumia Abu-Jamal, your dad. And so explain what that is. And you were just getting into that a little bit, and how what you're asking people to do right now. Your dad is still in prison 43 years later. He's now 71, I think. Is that right?
Yes.
Correct.
And as you described earlier in the conversation, suffering from multiple medical issues.
Yes.
Which was
It's
part.
like that's what they're doing at our political prisons. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean that's been the rationale for letting some political prisoners out, right, of prison because of their medical needs and their frailty. What are you asking?
Before they deny demise.
Yes.
So we're asking the people, right, to reach out, and you can call, you can write letters. It's at SCI Mahanoy, and that's in Frackville, Pennsylvania. You got the number. The name is Bernadette Mason. She is the superintendent, which means she's the warden. And her number, you can call 507-773-2158, extension 8100. Again, her name is Bernadette Mason, and he's at SCI Mahanoy. So what we're asking people to do is basically call up there and ask them to stop denying him his medical right to get eye surgery, because you gave him that life sentence, so you are responsible for his medical if he can bring it to you in a timely manner. And he's put complaints in and everything, and they just pushing it to the back. So I just talked to him yesterday. He still has not got the surgery. He said he can barely see, read his own writing. So, as a journalist, that's a little torment, because
it's terrible.
You can't read. You can't, so I said, Dad, what's going on? So I'm going to go see him this weekend. And one of the things that we do on the Mumia Freedom Tour is we bring the facts to you. We also have Rachel Wolkenstein that's part of our board, because I am the president of the board.
And of course, she's an attorney that was on his case, right?
She is one of Mumia's previous attorneys,
right?
That did his PCRAs in 1995 and up to 1999. And one of the things is she touched on it inside on why it wasn't done. See, like what I said, you're going to say anything as attorney to justify your actions. For Lynn Weinglass and them to say that they didn't think it'd be relevant or they didn't think this and that, and then you turn around and write a book to make money on something that ain't even validity to my father's case, but the prosecutor used it on some of his hearings against him. So I don't take your word as being an attorney. You're very unethical. Him and Dan Williams is two pieces of crap to me. So,
and those are both prior attorneys. Those are attorneys that were on your father's case.
Previous attorneys.
Does he? He has a new team. Now,
yeah. Well, they ain't doing too much. Man, look, I wrote them letters. None of them meted with me. I said, oh, this is ironic. I come over to New York. Oh, I'm busy. Oh, I got to do my daughter and this. Good. I'll tell your daughter to get some ice cream. I need to talk and see what is the game plan. Then they like, well, we do this and that. We're LDF. We do that. I said, look, I know all the things. Thurgood Marshall was turning in his grave, because it should not take this long to bring Mumia home. You found 6-8 boxes of exculpatory evidence that was not disclosed to his attorney. I ain't the smartest person, but that's a Brady violation. That's enough for appeals bond. Till we scatter this out. You don't let the judge say, let me take this under advisement. And then y'all looking around Ron Costell and Krasner saying, I need to sit with Ron Costell to ask him for the notes that he wrote way back. That's spinning the block. Look, we need to keep up with the facts. Mumia was framed. I asked you something simple, and I asked everybody, where's his co-defendant? If my uncle was arrested with him, because people always say, well, where your uncle? He gave an affidavit. My father gave an affidavit. Rachel Wolkenstein gave an affidavit. Arnold Beverly gave an affidavit. But what does it mean if you're not calling a hearing? This is theater. It's political theater, and I believe our country has been warped with political theater, from presidential to mayor to governor to all of this stuff. We as a people, we are intelligent people. We got to ask the questions and hold them accountable. They are civil duty. They owe a duty. So Joshua Shapiro, he needs to sign my father's release. He can do it. Trump showed us, if he ain't show us nothing else, for the January 6th. Yeah. And they had people out in the parking lot talking about it's 2 hours. And they was all released. No hearing, none of that.
So the demands of your Mumia Freedom Tour are immediate medical care, and for Governor Josh Shapiro to sign a pardon or a commutation. in order for Mumia Abu-Jamal to be released, because honestly, he's already served 43 years. So that would be the way forward as far as you see it at this point.
Yeah, because I see it like this, right? He got great grandbabies now, right? So it was so crazy because one of my granddaughters who was at we play Uno's or something up there at the because they asked me questions about their grandfather, and I believe he's still alive, so I can't answer his questions. So in my household, you get to address the elder the way you want to, because that's your experience, you know? So we take him up there, and they asked him, she says, Grandpa, you got a street named after you in Paris. So I looked it up on my iPad. So can you give me an apartment with that street? I need you to do it. I need you to bring me there. And then she was like, okay, I'm going to try. She said, when? Because she's 12 years old. Now, she just had turned 13. My other grandbaby, she's 7. She says, well, mine is not as extravagant as hers. I just need you to pick the beach and bury me in the sand and don't let it get too hot and let me out. I need you to do that. Because Grandpop told me, I'm their grandpop. He's their great-grandpop. They said, Grandpop told us to ask you the questions we need to ask you. So he telling me, get me out of here, son. You know? And, I mean, we started this campaign to revitalize the facts and the truth that everybody pushed to the side. Listen, they have a shuluk. It's a case called Shuluk and Doluk, right? And it's a Supreme Court case. That is actual innocent. If attorneys say that Arnold Beverly testimony would be actual innocent because he admits to doing it, he said the cop was corrupt and the cop was messing up with the mafia and the crooked cops' money. You got to look at the time frame. They were talking about the 70s and 80s, the early 80s, late 70s. If 30 police officers out that precinct was convicted, okay, for corruption, how does this seem so far-fetched? It should have been in a hearing. And for an attorney to say that they don't think it's credible, but they turn around and write a book to monetize on his thing, and it ain't even a book that helped Mumia because the prosecutor used it. So you do the math. I'm saying they can't keep playing with our intelligence. Sister, you come from a very intelligent line of intelligent people. Like I said, your father was a poet, and he was, in the movement, and he supported it. I know the West Coast game, and that's Amiri Baraki. Your brother is, a mayor. I'm saying we can't keep lying to intelligent people. We got to hold them accountable. Why Mumia don't have any co-defendants? Why the Arnold Beverly case wasn't reviewed by a court of law when he passed 2 lie detectors tests? When he got he got a video confession on YouTube. Okay, and his blood is at the scene. I know that for a fact because we had investigators and everything, and the police know that. But they won't talk about it because the investigation, how can a capital murder investigation be fully investigated in 5 months? I know people that's incarcerated that take a year pre-trial before they can even go to trial. So how is this even possible? We got to stop letting them off the hook. We got to hold them accountable. And the way they do that, Joshua Shapiro signed that to my father's release, exonerated fully, because he's innocent.
So,
and he has been around the world.
So you're calling for a pardon, even though he's served the time. You're not just calling for a commutation where he gets out and, on time served. You want a full pardon.
Yes, because one thing for sure.
I'm sorry, and this would have to be the governor because obviously it's a Pennsylvania case, so it could not be pardoned by the president.
Well, he can get political pressure because he's already got political pressure. Because we're not going to even talk about Butler, Pennsylvania, that they letting him off the hook. When his own state troopers, state police gave testimony, even filed criminal charges against him, but the prosecutor in Butler refused to prosecute him on the thing with the Trump thing. Man, this stuff is public information. We got to stop not looking at these things. Yeah. Now his house, ironically, get firebombed. That's to change the algorithm.
But just to be clear, because you're right, it's public information, but because your father's case, Mumia Abu-Jamal's case, it happened so long ago, and there's been so many different, like you said, different narratives, as well as it's a complex case. It's a huge case. There's still, we can look at publicly available information and still come away
I'm asking
not
people,
understanding.
let me just say this.
Yeah.
I'm asking people to do their own research. And if it comes up and you did your research and you see some stuff that's not right under this rabbit hole, then hold him accountable to at least do right by Mumia and pardon him.
So the call, the demand at this point is a full and complete pardon by the governor, Josh Shapiro, and the call to the warden that you ask folks to make, Bernadette Mason, at 507-773-2158, extension 8100. That is calling for the immediate medical care that Mumia Abu-Jamal
surgery of
needs.
his eyes.
Yeah.
Because the cataract is coming in and, the glaucoma. And like I said, we're asking people because we got information. We got access to information now. Everybody can do the research, and what I'm saying is, and look at Arnold Beverly. We asked him for a Manufacture of Guilt campaign. Go look at Manufacture of Guilt. It's 30 minutes. Pull it up, and it touches on even more deeper facts than what I'm touching, but I'm just want to touch the heartbeat because I believe it's been speed bumped over. If you have a person that confesses to the crime that you're in and you always been claiming that you're innocent, and he literally says that he participated and played a part in killing the police officer, not Mumia. He said, when my father was running across the street, he got shot by another cop. And guess what? It makes sense because when we look at the statistics, right, and they said that the projection and the projectile of the bullet going downward, it makes sense. Not this theater that they give that the cop spun around and as he was falling, he let off a shot and all. Come on, man. We're not going for that. And we're not going for him standing over top doing this and that when the ground was not even disturbed. We have a NASA scientist that said this is impossible to do because there's no divots. He called it smooth ground. Because, so what I'm trying to say is all they doing is salaciously working on people's emotions with this case. I'm just asking people to look at the facts. You got an innocent man, a journalist that been for the people for all his life, still incarcerated and still claiming his innocence. We need to at least owe it to him and others that may be innocent of him. That's why we got our organization called Freedom from Frame Up, because there's so many people that's been framed up. He's been literally framed up. Like I asked you can ask anybody. You know about this case. Who knows about Mumia's co-defendant?
Yeah, that's a great point. We're talking with Jamal Ibn Mumia, the son of Mumia Abu-Jamal, as he continues to seek freedom for his father and freedom from frame up. We'll continue the conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Imagine every pregnant person in LA County having the support they deserve. A doula on every block. Doulas provide emotional, physical, and informational support during pregnancy, through labor, and beyond. Medi-Cal now covers doula care. That means you can get the support you need or train to support families in your community. The LA County Medi-Cal Doula Hub is here to help. Learn more and get started today at ladoulahub.com.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you, when we fight, we win. The Youth Justice Coalition is challenging America's addiction to incarceration and discrimination. YJC works to dismantle policies leading to mass incarceration, law enforcement violence, and the school-to-prison pipeline. Their approach? Transformative justice, community intervention, free LA high school, legal defense, and system monitoring. YJC promotes safety without relying on prisons. Their goal? Prevent system contact and help people exit the system through direct action, advocacy, and education. Want to get involved or need help? Call 323-235-4243. That's 323-235-4243. Join YJC in creating change. When we fight, we win. KBLA Talk 1580, your voice for justice. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 invites you to join the Children, Youth, and Family Collaborative, CYFC, for their 25th annual Foster Youth Awareness Walk on Saturday, May 17th at 8 a.m. at Susan Miller Dorsey High School, 3537 Farmdale Avenue in Los Angeles. This community-centered event brings together advocates, supporters, and youth to raise awareness and resources for foster care programs in the greater Los Angeles area. Please register at Eventbrite CYFC 25th Anniversary Walk. Congratulations to the Children, Youth, and Family Collaborative on their 25th Annual Foster Youth Awareness Walk. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
Conversation continues right now, and urge everyone to follow us. KBLA 1580 is where you can find us. You can find me at DiPrima Radio, DIPRIMA, and then radio. And you can find Jamal Ibn Mumia at Mumia Freedom Tours on Instagram, and Freedom from Frame Up. Those are both two different sites that you are working with. It's got to be, I mean, you started off mentioning my dad, and you know, I was thinking about that before the interview, Jamal, because I was thinking to myself, maybe we have that in common, being the children of these iconic revolutionary figures. Yeah. You know, but with you, I think it's also a different thing that I can't even understand, which is growing up with your dad in prison for most of your life.
Yeah.
What is?
Well, you got to add the part death row too, right? Yeah. So it's psychological because my father he's a touchy-feely father. Like, he'll be like, come here, your face ain't clean, and he'll clean your face like right there. Like, I remember I was 9 years old when he went in. So for him to have no physical contact because they put a glass and a little screen at the bottom for 30 years, that's tormenting him even more. We couldn't eat. We couldn't do anything when our mother would take us up there because we didn't want him to be thirsty, or we didn't want him to have to go to the bathroom because they cut the visit short if that happened. So it was a lot. I was in sports, and I remember my mother like, well, we got to go visit your dad. I'm like, my championship game is going on. I'm like, you know, and she was like, that, what you talking about? He's in death row. So it's like a big gap in your world. And a lot of times I like to touch on, people don't understand that my dad was an active dad. So he would take us on weekends, or he would take us out, and we would have trips and all of that. So when he was moonlighting, my mother was one that would tell him journalists is not paying. You got to go back to 1980, 81. And he got this big vision. Like, look, he turned down a job on, I think, Eyewitness News anchor. They asked him to cut his dreads. And he was like, no, you don't want me if you want me to cut my dreads. And then when he covered the move, Standoff, then he started getting backflash from WDAS-FM, which he delivered the news there. He worked there because they had the narratives controlled. So I'm saying that a lot of things we try to bring is the humanity with my dad. My dad is loving. He's fun. You know, even in his condition, he tries to never talk about his case. He tries to never, put us in a mood where we emotional, like upset. So we will always talk about current things. We will always say, you know what's going on in South Africa? Do you know what happened with this? Do you know what's happening over here in Mississippi? We always was like that. Ever since I was little, he grew me up through books.
Yeah.
So I remember like fourth grade, my fourth grade teacher was like, what's your favorite poet? I said, Khalil Gibran, the 1500s. And she looking at me like, what? I said, Khalil Gibran. He was the poet of the 1500s. She was like, well, what book do you like? Wretched of the Earth. I'm in fourth grade, Frantz Fanon. Because that's what my dad said. You like to read, you're going to read. And he said, I didn't go for the shiny stuff, the pearls. He said, I always went for the literature because I like the facts. So this is why it rubs me wrong when things like I told you about those facts and your attorney, you a high-level attorney, and you don't pursue it, and you don't, you don't even push for appeal bond. So one of the things that we're asking now is my father's medical, and you were definitely correct, because We've seen it so fast with the Trump administration, what they did. They talking about January 6th, they had a whole hearing, they had all this stuff, and they incarcerated all these people, and they let them all out. Okay, Joe Biden, he let out people. Leonard Peltier, he was released under the Joe Biden thing. But do you know Marquita?
Second. Yeah.
Yeah, do you know Marquita?
No.
Well, I had the privilege of meeting Marquita. Marquita is Leonard Peltier's youngest daughter. You know what she said her dad said to her?
But did she?
He's leaving one prison, going to another prison, because they won't release him back to South Dakota. She's having issues with her peoples because the lady said she the one that wrote the letter that got Joe Biden out, so he owed them. Like, how do you do our political prisons like this? These people are mad. So I'm saying I'm behind the scenes. I see a lot of people do that with my father's thing. That's why I said that we are not affiliated with all that stuff. We are here to get Mumia free. We're here to do a tour. We're doing a Mumia Freedom Tour, and it's international. It ain't just national.
Yeah.
So what we're doing...
Okay, go ahead. No, go ahead. We just have a couple minutes here, so I want to make sure you get to the essence of what you want to say.
Okay. So one of the things that we're doing is the Mumia Freedom Tour, and we are Freedom from Framing Up Foundation. Our organization consists of people that are pushing the facts that's been pushed under a rock. Because people need to know this. We're too smart. We're too intelligent. Our black and brown people are being the life sucked out of them in these hellholes, in prisons that they call them, and then they let them out when they almost got a month or two to live. Look at Jalil Alamin. Look at A-Trap Brown. I mean, like, this is sad. We cannot keep standing aside and letting them persecute our peoples, and then we say, well, they got these other people amnesty. These people can get out. They don't have to go through all this stuff. Mumia went through so many hearings in courts, and I asked people, how could Ron Castile, which was the original district attorney on his case, how could he hear Mumia's appeal when he is a justice of Pennsylvania Supreme Court justice? Talking about, I'm not going to be unbiased. I'm not going to be biased. Of course you are. This is your conviction. I mean, this is the madness, Dominique, that we got to stop letting go by. We're not letting it fly, and we're holding them accountable, and we're asking the people to contact the prison. We're asking people when we come through your town, sign the petition. We're asking the people to write to Joshua Shapiro. You can write to him. He's the governor of Pennsylvania, and you can tell him, why is Mumia not released with these facts? And they want to do an investigation. They got the resources to investigate these facts.
Yeah.
They don't want to do it.
Well, I appreciate the conversation, and hopefully folks will follow up. Bernadette Mason, the warden there, 507-773-2158, extension 8100, calling for the medical care, the surgery that Mumia Abu-Jamal needs, and, of course, writing to Governor Shapiro for that pardon. Thank you so much for the time.
And watching Manufacturing the Guilt. Go look Manufacture Guilt. Go look up Arnold Beverly's confession and tell me. Put the comments on her radio station on what y'all think.
Yeah, thank you so much. We got to go. Tavis Smiley's up next. He's waiting in the wings. He's got an incredible show for you today. You can, if you missed the whole podcast, you can go get it on our YouTube or wherever you get your pods for free. Quoting Mumia, he says, "Prison is a second-by-second assault on the soul, a day-to-day degradation of the self, an oppressive steel and brick umbrella that transforms seconds into hours and hours into days." I'm Dominique DiPrima, and I'll be back tomorrow. Until then, one love.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. A judge resentenced Lyle and Eric Menendez. Diddy Combs' ex, Cassie Ventura, will likely testify again today in Combs' sex